Bir daha hamını salamlayıram. Təşəkkür edirəm ki, vaxt ayırdınız, bizim təlimə qoşuldunuz. Ümid edirəm hamı üçün maraqlı və faydalı bir təlim olacaq. Bugün biz International Trade Center və AzExport portalının birgə layihəsi olan Ready for Trade layihəsinə başlayırıq. Ümumilikdə 4 dərs günü olacaq, trening günü olacaq və treninqlər müxtəlif mövzuları əhatə edən dərslər keçiriləcək. Əsas təlimi Muhammed bəy keçəcək və bizə Eldar bəy dəstək olacaq. Eldar bəy də ITC-nin Azərbaycan üzrə nümayəndəsidir. Belə suallar yarandıqda təlim ərəfəsində ola bilər ki, xüsusi suallar olsa təlim ərəfəsində də soruşa bilərsiniz və ya sonda təlim bitdikdə 20 dəqiqə, yarım saat müddət ayrılacaq ki, xüsusi olaraq sualların cavablandırılması üçün. Ayrıca olaraq da təlimdən sonra da mənə və Eldar bəyə və Muhammed bəyə yazaraq suallarınız olduğunda müraciət edə bilərsiniz. Onu da qeyd edeyim ki, ötən təlimdə olduğu kimi bu təlimdə də sonda 70-80% iştirak göstəricisi olan şəxslər sertifikatla təltif olunacaq. Elə hamıya uğurlar. Mən sözü verirəm Eldar bəyə. Buyurun Eldar bəy, söz sizdə.
Shall I start, Eldar?
Eldar bəy, eşidirsiniz bizi?
I think we lost Eldar.
Ola bilər ki, Eldar bəyin internetində problem yarandı, indi qoşular. Karantin dövrü olduğu üçün hamı evdədir, hamı internetdən istifadə edir, ola bilər ona görə müəyyən qədər internetdə yüklənmə olsun. Bu səbəbdən Eldar bəyin internetində problem yarana bilər. Biz bir 2 dəqiqə gözləyək, yəqin ki, yenidən qoşulacaq Eldar bəy bizə. Muhammed, can you please check for waiting for new participants?
Yes, I did just now validate one more. Do you want me to start, Ayhan, or are we waiting for Eldar to reconnect?
Let's wait, please, for Eldar. Maybe he will reconnect. I will call him.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Do we need to take notes? Like, do we need paper or pen?
For this webinar, no, and we will be sharing the PDF version of the presentation. So you can just focus on maybe a bit of interactions. We will have question and answers at the end of the webinar.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm back.
Hoş geldiniz. Buyurun, biz ilkin məlumatlarımızı təqdim elədik, salamlaşdıq iştirakçılarımızla. Buyurun, söz sizdə. International Trade Center barədə və Muhammed barədə, özünüz barədə məlumatları təqdim edin. Sonra yəqin ki, sözü verəcəyim Muhammed bəyə və təlimimizə başlayaq. Uğurlar.
Kısa olaraq danışım. Yəni, deyəsən elə əvvəldən internet kəsildi. Mən indi telefon vasitəsilə qoşuldum, yəni mobil internetlə. Yəni, ITC International Trade Center BMT-nin, Birləşmiş Millətlər Təşkilatının və Ümumdünya Ticarət Təşkilatının törəmə qurumudur. Azərbaycanda 2018-ci ildən Ready to Trade layihəsini həyata keçirir. Ready to Trade layihəsi Azərbaycan kiçik və orta sahibkarlarını Avropa İttifaqına ixrac etməkdə kömək edir. Həmin bu layihənin çərçivəsində biz müxtəlif dövlət qurumları ilə əməkdaşlıq edirik. O cümlədən AzExportla da, o cümlədən İqtisadi Saatların Təhlili Mərkəzi ilə, yəni və bugünkü təlimimizdə məhz AzExportla birgə keçirilir. Təlimin məqsədi bu e-commerce barədə müəyyən təcrübi məsələləri müzakirə eləməkdir. Biz artıq bir neçə belə təlim keçirmişik e-commerce ilə bağlı. Yəni ona görə bugünkü təlimi bir qədər, bugünkü deyəndə yəni bu silsilə təlimlərini biz daha çox praktik eləmək istəyirik. Mən indi qoşulanda eşitdim, bir xanım sual vermişdi ki, yəni kağız lazım olacaq, qeyd eləmək lazım gəlir. Yəni əlbəttə sizdən az, yəni sizdən nəsə istəyirsiniz eləyin əlbəttə ki, sonra sual verəsiniz, nəsə aydın olmayan məsələlər qalıbsa, yenə də prezentasiya vaxtında sual verə bilərsiniz. Prezentasiyanın sonunda yarım saat xüsusilə ayrılmış bu sual-cavab məsələləri üçün. Texniki məsələlərə gəldikdə mən hamıdan xahiş eləyərdim mute knopkasını bassınlar ki, echo zad və belə deyək də kənar səslər oradan olmasın. Yəni sual vermək istəyəndə orada raise your hand, indi bilmirəm, məndə ingilis dilindədir, yəqin ingilis dilindədir, hamıda bu zoom. Raise your hand knopkası var. Onu basın ki, yəni sual vermək istəyirsiniz. Ümumi sual varsa, yəni sualı, yəni təcili bir sual deyilsə, prezentasiyanın sonunda verə bilərsiniz. Amma prezentasiya vaxtı vermək istəsə, orada o raise your hand basıb onu deməli cavab verə bilərsiniz. Yəni qısa olaraq bu qədər. So Muhammed, the floor is yours. Və təlim ingilis dilində keçirilir. Yenə də sualla bağlı, yəni nəsə sual verəndə, ümid edirəm ki, ingilis dilində hamı başa düşür, amma indi sual verəndə, yəni danışmaqda kimdəsə nəsə problem olsa, yəni mən kömək edə bilərəm. Sualınızı Azərbaycan dilində, Rus dilində verə bilərsiniz. Mən Muhammedə ingilis dilində tərcümə edərəm. Və belə. So Muhammed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eldar. Thank you, Ayhan, for the presentation and this opportunity to share a little bit with our entrepreneurs from Azerbaijan. Welcome, everybody. My name is Mohammed Esfi. And I'm a specialist of payment and mobile payment solutions, especially. And today I'll share with you from my practical experience and research, how to approach and obtain payment solutions. I'm going to admit Leila, who just joined us. So this is more of a strategy on how to deal with payments. So I will not go very deep and technical on every type of solution, but we will see for us how to approach as a business owner the question of collecting payments for your e-commerce business. So here, the agenda, we will cover 5 main points. First, we're going to talk about the market payment preferences. Each country has a different requirement. And then we will very quickly see the types of e-commerce payments that exist today. The third chapter is about the available payment options for you in Azerbaijan. The fourth and most important point is the compliance for payment solutions, meaning the information and documents that payment solutions may require you. And finally, we will very quickly check how you can integrate and use these payment solutions. So I'm going to start with the first point. And we are here in the context of you, an Azeri entrepreneur who is selling abroad. So it's about exporting, e-exporting. Overall, it's very simple. There is 3 key principles. And this is more of a change of mentality for you as a business owner. So the first one is that it is you, the seller, who has to adapt to the buyer preferences and not the other way around. And I will detail that a little bit further in this presentation. Second, the collection of the money, the collection of the payment should be done in the user's, in the buyer's currency. As much as possible, you have to offer the currency of the buyer. If you cannot, then the second choice we will see can be US dollar and then some other options as well. And finally, the third principle is that the rules, the law, and the conditions that apply, you have to center them around your buyer. So if the buyer is in Germany or France or America, he has to feel comfortable in the legal environment of his country. These are the three elements, and it's basically it goes back to one principle. It's the client is king, so we have to kind of serve him or her in the best manner possible. I'm going to share with you a bad example, and this is actually a real example that I had with a seller in Tunisia. And it is very easy to do this mistake because like in Tunisia, in Azerbaijan, you may have a local payments solution that accepts Visa card and MasterCard. And you may set up a website, WooCommerce, Shopify, whatever, and install that payment gateway on it. And then you may think that you're good enough. You're good enough to accept payments from international customers. And this is what happened. What happens is that the Tunisian seller, as you can see, he's using Monetic Tunisie, which is the local payment services provider. They have Visa and MasterCard, which works perfectly. But then it's displaying the final price in Tunisian dinar, just like a local payment provider may display the price in Azeri Manat. And there is a mismatch because here we have a German customer who is used to pay with SEPA or GiroPay or Eu4Business, which are German-specific or European-specific payment gateways, which are number one, number two, most wanted in Germany. And this customer in Germany is expecting to pay in euro. So you can see that here we have a mismatch. Although the seller thought that he's ready for payments, he's actually not that ready. And this is the first element. Now, how bad is this? Because you may think, no, it's okay. It's Visa card. It's the problem of the buyer. I already accept Visa card and MasterCard. So I'm just sharing with you a study about the reasons of abandonments during checkout. And just to check while we are doing this, is everything okay? Eldar, the sound, everything is still okay?
Yes, Mohammed, all is okay.
Okay, cool, Ayhan. The silence worries me. Thank you. So as you can see, this is a study from BMR, and three of the issues that the users have are about payments. One is that they don't trust the website with their card information. Second, there were not enough payment solutions available because they want to have a choice between not only PayPal, but also Visa card, MasterCard, maybe Skrill, maybe some other payment methods. So the choice, the second issue is the choice. And the third one, they tried to pay with their card and it was refused because unfortunately, sometimes local payment solutions, they may refuse some American cards, they may refuse some Chinese Visa cards, and this is also one reason. So when you total all these three reasons of abandonments, that becomes the third reason of abandonments, which is about payment. So that means that 31% of your clients may go or may be lost because of a payment issue. So it's a big loss. It's a big opportunity cost. Now I'm going to show you a good example. A good example is this American company who is actually selling to Saudi Arabia clients. So look at the diversity. An American company selling in an Arab country. And they adapt at 4 levels. As you can see here, first, they will allow you to choose your country, and then they will recalculate and restudy the shipping methods and the prices. So for Saudi Arabia, they have Aramex, DHL, and SMSA, which is a regional one, shipping company. They will recalculate the price as well. They will ask you what is your preferred language, which is the second adaptation. And then you may select to pay in dollar or Saudi Riyal. And then once you select all this, they will tell you, this is what we have as payment methods for you in Saudi Arabia, my client. You can choose whatever is the most easy for you. This is the message of this American company. And I think this is a very good example. Now, as best practices, and again, this is very simple approach. We're going to answer these 2 questions. So just like for the Tunisian seller, if I have Visa and MasterCard on my website through my local bank, is that fine? The answer is no, as we have seen. because if you want to maximize the transformation from a visitor into a buyer, then you have to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. It has to be super easy for them. It has to be natural. It has to be logic and recognizable, trustable. So then what should I do? I have to study and manage and propose the solutions that are expected by the market. That is the right answer. And the process is very simple. You identify, that means you have to do some research, and Google, oftentimes Google will give you all the answers, and then you can find some studies. I will share with you some documents that list the preferences of payment by country. So that is your part, identifying, studying. And then the second part, because that is not enough, once you have studied and find out which payment solutions are actually wanted by that country, then you have to get them, because if you don't get them, it's no point to study them. So you have to go and obtain these payment solutions. That's the second point. And finally, once you have obtained them, you have to propose them. You have to display them in your checkout process, in your ordering process. You have to show them, and don't show everything to everyone. You have to show in the right currency and the right payment solution for each country. This can be achieved technically, but for now, this is just at a strategic level. Move forward. So like I was saying, each country may have, sorry, I'm gonna go back into full screen. Each country may have preferences, and you can download these different studies. They are here for you as reference. We will not spend too much time on it. Let's jump to the types of e-commerce payments that do exist for now, because this can change over time. There are mainly 6 categories or 6 types of payments for e-commerce. One that is very known is the payment cards, Visa card, MasterCard, Maestro cards, diners. This is more in America. American Express, JCB, which is the Japanese card, and there are a big number of users having JCB cards. China Union Pay, and I know that there is an Azeri bank that just signed an agreement with China Union Pay in Azerbaijan. It's probably the most used card in the world, China Union Pay. And then the second category of payments is the cash. I mean the cash/electronic. So you have the cash on delivery that may be offered by some local companies, or for example by Yandex checkout in Russia and other countries. You have Western Union that can also be integrated. You have MoneyGram, and you have Xoom, which is something like Western Union, but is done by PayPal. They offer cash at the counter, and then you can interconnect it with your e-commerce website. The third category of payment is bank transfers. And here I want you to remember that there are 2 types mainly there's 2 subcategories of bank transfers. There is the traditional or the classic bank transfers. The oldest one is the SWIFT system, which is based on the US dollar. And it is slow, and it is also expensive. So it may take 3 to 5 days, up to 15 days to receive a SWIFT bank transfer, and it may cost you up to $50 to receive one single SWIFT bank transfer, because there are many intermediary banks in the middle. Then more recently, there was the IBAN, which is a European payment system that has extended to Asian and other countries. And in Europe specifically, there is the SEPA bank transfers, which are now very fast and almost free. And then on the other side of the bank transfer payments, there is what we call the instant transfers. If you heard about it in the US, it's called the ACH system, which is like through the e-banking, but then the bank transfer arrive on your account instantly. The same system is available in Germany. It's called Sofort, and other countries, they have something similar. So that's for the bank transfers. And then we have the electronic wallets, and this is probably the most diversified and abundant type of payment solution, because every country has a few of them. The most known one and the most international ones are probably PayPal, Skrill, and Pioneer, for example. So what an e-wallet is that you can load money into the e-wallet, and then you can transfer between users of the same e-wallet. So this is normally faster and cheaper than doing an external payment. The fifth type of payment, which is actually growing more and more, that's the payment that is offered by the marketplace. So for example, Amazon now has Amazon Pay. It offers it on Amazon.com in the marketplace, but also it offers it as an Amazon Pay solution for external websites. Google Pay as well. It started to be the payment solution for the Google App Store, and now it's available more and more as a payment solution online and in physical stores. And the same way, Etsy.com, which is also a marketplace for handicraft and fashion, they also have their own payment solution, which is called Etsy Checkout. So this is something that you need to pay attention to, because if you're selling on Amazon Pay, but you're not accepting Amazon, or if you're selling on Etsy.com and you're not accepting Etsy Checkout, you're missing up some opportunities. The youngest and let's say probably the wildest payment solution we have right now is the cryptocurrencies. So there are few types of cryptocurrencies. You have mainly the first giant known, which are Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then there is a whole hundreds of other coins called the altcoins. And then also there is a second type of cryptocurrencies, which are called the stable coins. And I can explain furthermore what is a stable coin later on. You can ask questions. But just keep in mind that stablecoin is usually related to a national currency or a national security or a government backup or some sort of control, some sort of alignment on the value to control the volatility. So these are the 6 general families of electronic payments that you may use on your website or on your chat and business. Let's move now to the available payment options for Azerbaijan, and I have splitted this into sub-chapters as well. So the first sub-chapter is actually the local payment solutions that are from Azerbaijan or available in Azerbaijan, and this is actually what you know better than me. And I would like to learn from you in the comments, in the chat, what local payment solutions are available. I know that there is Hasan Pay, because for me as a foreigner, this is what I use to pay for my visa before traveling to Azerbaijan, and it works very well. Now I have asked the Hasan Pay people if Hasan Pay will be available soon to Azeri entrepreneurs to cash in payments from abroad. And they said that technically it is ready, but operationally it's not yet ready. So they may open it maybe in a few months. And I think it's an interesting local payment option. And it's backed by technically a public organization. There is Millicart, which seems to be an aggregator. And what I find interesting with Millicart is that they have many integration modules for WooCommerce, for Shopify, and so on. So it looks like they are easy to integrate. And then this is a desk research. I just identified that there's another company called Paynet. So if you have, or you know other Azeri local payment gateways that accept international payments, please list them for the benefit of the community. Now, where I want to go with this first subchapter is that what could be the limits of the local payment solutions that you already have in Azerbaijan? And remember, we're talking about receiving foreign and international payments, not for taking payments from Azeri customers. So I have listed a few issues that could happen from my experience. And these issues are on 2 sides. Some issues you may experience as an Azeri entrepreneur. For example, before you can get a certain payment solution, you may need to have a certain volume of transactions, like you need to have $5,000 of sales per month or you don't get it. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is that the local payment solution forces you to convert all the foreign currencies into manat. And you may want to keep some euros or dollar, or at least you don't want to display manat to your customer. Sometimes it's very complicated. The third question here, to open an account. Transactions cost also is sometimes an issue. And sometimes you have a problem of documentation, which is not very available. This may not be true for Azerbaijan, but I just put for you here the main thing that bother merchants from my experience with their local solution providers. And then what you have to think about is all the potential problems that the customer will see. your buyer, your international buyer. So there is a first one, which is the confusion about the pricing. So you may display the price on your cart in US dollar, and when it reaches the payment currency, maybe it will display also the manat amount, and sometimes they say, hey, why the price increased? And they don't notice that it's actually a different currency. The second issue that I notice is that some foreign buyers, for example, an American buyer, he may not know the Azeri bank names. So it doesn't sound very trustful, even if it's a big bank in Azerbaijan. They also sometimes they are intimidated by Azeri language or Russian language if it pops up on the payment page. They have a doubt, even if it's not true, that their payment, their card payment is not insured by their bank insurance. And actually it is insured, but it's just a fear from the customer side because they see this is a foreign payment gateway. And sometimes, like I said before, their card, which is a specific Visa card or a specific Maestro card, sometimes not accepted by the local payment provider. Now, there is some other doubts that can arise, which is about the refunds. Again, normally they can get a refund. They have very little knowledge or confidence in Azeri solutions because it's new for them. And sometimes this is a little bit, it may sound stupid, but it is not. But sometimes from a country to another, the payment page may use different colors, different style, and that may make the look of the page look uncomfortable for some of them, for some buyers. And finally, they're always afraid, some of them, to enter the card information or even their name because of identity theft and so on, even though they may see the SSL sign and so on. So even though most of these fears are actually not true, but still these are fears that customers are experiencing, and you need to take them into account, because from my experience, one small hesitation, they just hesitate about one single thing out of these points, and they may just close the window and go to another website or buy locally or something else. I think the point is clear, and we may complete this together. So this leads us to the tricky question. So which payment solution is the best? And basically we've answered it. The best payment solution is not the best solution for you. It's the one that is already used by your buyer. So if they're using it, that is the best one that you should offer. That will close this part here. Now let's look at the international payment solutions that do accept Azeri merchants. There are a few of them. There are more than these. I just present 5 of them. There is tocheckout.com, which allow you to have Visa card, MasterCard, and even PayPal indirectly through their payment gateway. There is WorldPay, which is probably one of the oldest international payment provider. There is Pioneer, which is a wallet plus they give you a local bank account number in the US and in Europe so that you can be paid by bank transfer locally. And probably you know this one better than me, but there is the whole Yandex checkout suite with many types of payments that work in Russia and maybe BRICS countries. And there are wallets like Kiwi Wallet, which I think is used a lot in Russian-speaking countries. So I have just very quickly laid down their fees and conditions because I want to attract your attention on one specific thing. Is that you need to master the costs of your payment solutions, because you may be surprised and lose money actually. So I have put PayPal, although PayPal is not available in Azerbaijan for now for sellers. I have put it for you so that you can actually realize some issues here. Is that even if you use PayPal, there are actually 2 types of fees. There is the transaction fee, which is 2.9% or a little bit more. But what people don't realize is this big fee is kind of a hidden fee, because actually PayPal will charge in US dollar the customer, and they will pay you in Azeri manat or other currency. And they take a currency exchange fee, which is 3.9% plus 30 cents. And that is a lot of money. When you add the 2 of them, that becomes almost 7% plus 30 cents. So this is something to consider. And then if you look at, for example, WorldPay has one of the lowest transaction fees, but then it is because they take a monthly fee. So if you pay £20, $25 maybe per month, then this would be your lowest transaction fee for international cards. I put for you also Yandex. Yandex has few fees depending on the type of card and depending on your volume. But if you have a high volume and on the classic cards, you can get 2.8% per transaction. Otherwise, the average is 3.5, 3.8%. General rule is that all of them will have some form of currency exchange. So I advise you to always keep 2 or 3% in your mind that will be lost because of currency exchange. The rest is pretty explicit. And Payoneer actually also allows you to accept Visa card and MasterCard, and the money is loaded in your virtual account with Payoneer, and they take 3%. So these are the international payment solutions that you can subscribe to and implement on your website or other payment channels. And the third type of payment solutions that I think is very interesting for you to consider is all the international payment solutions that are not available for you as an Azeri merchant right now, because they don't accept Azerbaijan companies, but it doesn't mean that you cannot get them. Actually, if you form a company, you can get almost any payment solution. So if you, basically my rule of thumb is that 90% of all the payment solutions, and you've heard about Stripe probably, even PayPal, Alipay, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Square, Adyen, they all become available if you open a company in the US or in Europe. And for your information, we are having also a webinar on Monday, 22nd June about how to form a company abroad. This can start at $500, the setup fee, with the program from Stripe. It's called Stripe Atlas. And actually Stripe, which is probably the biggest, I think it's the most quoted payment solution in the world. It's the largest. They will open a Stripe merchant account and a bank account for your company if you subscribe through the Atlas program. And we can talk about this later on Monday, 22nd June. There is also other possibilities. Just remember that you as an Azeri company can open a branch in the EU, can open a branch in America, can even open a branch in Asia, in China, in Hong Kong, or wherever, or in the Emirates, to cash and to be closer to your customers in that region. I have a question, Ayhan, please. What is the status of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in Azerbaijan right now? Is it allowed or?
Our proposal doesn't allow crypto. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a very new opportunity for us. Maybe it will be famous in Azerbaijan after 2-3 years.
Yes, so I think it was that was also my feeling. I think it's interesting to understand at least what is Bitcoin and what is the potential and advantages of cryptocurrencies for e-commerce, because like you said, Ayhan, it can be very soon, if not already, a very interesting bonus. So I just want to clarify two big misunderstandings about cryptocurrencies for e-commerce. One is that most of you, or most of us at the beginning, because we don't know exactly what it is and we hear about a lot of bad stories, is that cryptocurrencies are not legal, yes, in some countries. And then we think it's too risky and I cannot cash them out. That means that if I get cryptocurrency and I need manat, or if I need US dollar, I will not get it. Well, that is not correct, because the risks, for example, is mainly if you use them as a deposit currency. For example, you get payments or you buy Bitcoins and then you keep them in your Bitcoin wallet. And then, yes, you're exposed to the variation of the price. It can go up, but multiplied by 4, but also it can be divided by 4 or by 10. So it's very high risk. And that's why the governments like Azerbaijan, they want to protect their people. So they may forbid you or limit you from accessing Bitcoin as a deposit method. So please notice this precision. As a deposit method, yes, it is volatile, it is risky, but we are business people. So we don't want to use Bitcoin or others as the deposit currency. We want to use it as a collection because my customer has money in that form and I want to get it out of him. So as a collection, it's actually not necessarily forbidden, and it is not volatile, and it is not risky because there exists some payment gateways that will transform the Bitcoin into US dollar or euro. So for you, you're not doing anything illegal and you're getting dollar or euro, which is allowed by the country. And this is what you need to understand. So in that sense, as a seller and as a collection method, it is an opportunity. Otherwise, yes, as a personal deposit method, that's a big risk. So the second question that we don't understand is that many times I heard people telling me, no, I cannot accept Bitcoin because when I put my price, after 2 hours, the price, I have to change it because Bitcoin goes up and down so quickly in terms of price exchange with the dollar or manat. Well, actually, that is not your problem. That's the problem of the buyer, and which is good for us as sellers, because this is how it works. If you have a product that you want to sell for $20, you will display $20 on your cart, and then the acquiring step, during the acquiring, the crypto exchange or crypto payment solution will actually calculate and tell the buyer, this is how much you need to pay in Bitcoin today. For example, with today rate, $20 is 0.0021 Bitcoin. And then the buyer, you see, I put it here in red at the bottom. It is the buyer who is managing the volatility issue. So if cryptocurrency is going too much down, maybe the buyer will not want to use it. In that case, he will use his Visa card or MasterCard. But usually when cryptocurrency price goes up, the people who have cryptocurrency wants to use their cryptocurrency. So you can catch them. This is new customers that you can catch. And then for you, once they pay this amount, which is valid for like about 10 minutes, they pay, and then the settlement, which is the money you will receive as a merchant, you will get it in dollar. So you will get $19 or even more because it's very cheap. The payment fees with Bitcoin and others, they're very cheap. So technically, you have just accepted Bitcoin, but you have not dealt with Bitcoin. You have received dollars. So we're good. The service or the product is sold, and I got my money in dollar, euro, and I can transfer it to my local account. So I will not do more about cryptocurrency, but if you have more questions, if you are more interested, we can discuss them in our question and answers at the end. Or maybe even if this becomes interesting, we can do a specific webinar on cryptocurrency where I can explain the technology, the rules, and some more details, because I think in the future, this is going to become more and more interesting. Now, the next thing about cryptocurrency is what you need to know is, should you use it as a seller? Like, is there any advantage for you? The market is saying yes. So this is the market, this is the demand. This is people online saying, look, we have Bitcoin, we have money in Bitcoin, we want to buy stuff online. Who is accepting Bitcoin? And they have a hard time to find who is accepting Bitcoin, or they may change from a seller to another because that first seller didn't have Bitcoin and they have money in Bitcoin that they want to liquidate. So it's good for you to know who actually is using Bitcoin. What is the social profile or the socio-economic profile? So for now, it's mainly used in Europe and the US, and more in Asia. So if you're selling to America, to North America or to Europe, well, this is most of the Bitcoin owners. The gender, it is mainly men. So maybe if you're selling products for women, it is less. There are less women using Bitcoin, but this actually 13% is growing. More and more women and women entrepreneurs are using Bitcoin as well. And then the age. So we may think that only the young people are using Bitcoin, but actually no, it's getting to the higher trenches. For example, the 25 to 34 years old is the biggest users, and then even 25 to 34 and even 35 to 44, you have already, like, this is most of 50% of the people. And now in terms of branding, you may be afraid to use Bitcoin because you don't want to look like a hacking website or something. Well, don't worry too much, because Microsoft is selling their solutions with Bitcoin. Dell are selling their computers. Newegg is accepting payments with Bitcoin. PayPal is accepting Bitcoin. Tesla, you can buy a car You can buy a Tesla car with Bitcoins, and not only American cars, but you can buy a BMW with a Bitcoin. So meaning that brand-wise, even the big brands are getting to accept it. So it is a sign. It is a strong sign. I'll finish on the cryptocurrencies for now on this slide. And this is probably the most important thing in the whole webinar, which is there is no payment solution that you cannot access, because you can always form a company. But what can block you, and in my experience, what is blocking people from getting payment solutions is what we call the compliance. And the compliance is basically the administrative work, the paperwork, the documentation that you need to prepare and apply and submit to a payment solution. And let's see what I mean by this. And the first thing that you need to really be careful about it, is, especially if you want to be totally legal in Azerbaijan as well, when you do e-commerce, is that if you are about to open a Payoneer account, or if you open a Payoneer account or any other account online, you need to be very careful what kind of account you're opening. Are you opening an individual personal account or a company account? Now, the mistake we do, because if I open an individual account, it is easier, it is faster, they ask me less documents. But this is under my name, Mohammed. So if I do this as an individual, it is very important that me as Mohammed, I am registered in my country as a sole trader, as an individual company. You know, I have declared my business activities, because otherwise at one point or another, this is actually illegal if you don't declare it. And at what point or another, it will create you some tax issues or some other issues. So be careful. I advise not to open an individual account unless you're registered as an individual entrepreneur in your country. Otherwise, most of the time, we're opening company accounts. Okay, so this is just a very important first mistake to avoid. And sorry, I come back. So if you have started with an individual account, don't worry. There is often an option for upgrading to business accounts. So if you have a company and right now you're under individual account, please upgrade and do the due diligence that is required. Now, like I said, this is the biggest barrier. And what do they want? What does the PSP want? So PSP is Payment Solution Provider. Well, they must, by law, they must check all the company information and documents. They want to know that your company really exists, or that you as an individual, or me, Mohammed Esfi, I am allowed in my country to do business, to trade. And then they need to also check my identity. So they will ask identity documents for all the shareholders and the managers or the directors of the business. They also need to check the services and the products and the rules that need to be respected in terms of security and other privacy policy and terms and conditions. Now, from my experience, when I assisted my clients or even for my own businesses, every time I have prepared my compliance file perfectly, before they even ask me, I already put all the documents in advance. They accept my business 100%. 100% acceptance rate, maybe 99%. In some instances, they ask for another document or they refuse. So I'm going to share with you how to prepare this compliance application. And the first thing that they will ask you is the documents and the information about the legal entity, or the moral entity, sometimes they call it. So for example, if you have a UK company, there is a document that proves that you're registered with the UK company register. It's called the Certificate of Incorporation. It may have a different name in Azerbaijan, Certificate of Registration or something like this. And then you have a second document, which is called Articles of Organizations, or sometimes it's called the bylaws, or sometimes it has another names, like in French countries, it's called the statute. And it's usually a bunch of 20 pages that say how the directors are elected, how the shareholders are elected, how the company is organized, and so on. So it's like a pack of 10 pages maybe. That's the second document that they ask for. And then the third document that they always ask is an official list of the directors. So it's a document that says that Ayhan is the director, Eldar is the main manager, and so on. So they want to know who has signatory power in this company. The 4 documents is the list of shareholders. Now, shareholders, not all of them, because sometimes you may have a company that has 20 shareholders, so it may be putting you out to provide documents for 20 people. So I will explain later, but basically all the shareholders that have 25% of the shares or more, they will need to be identified in an official document. So there is also some other documents that they may ask. If you're familiar with certificate of good standing, I think this doesn't exist as such in Azerbaijan, but the equivalent of a certificate of good standing is a document from Azerbaijani authorities that say, yes, this company was created in 2010, but right now in 2020, it is still active. It has declared its accounting and it has paid taxes. So there may be some document that every year when you do your company requirements, you get some kind of document that say, yes, you're good, you're in good standing now. So that document is what they call certificate of good standing. Sometimes because your company documents, they may be in Azeri or in Russian language, and we are applying to an American payment solution, they may ask us to translate the documents into English. Sometimes because they are not sure about the existence of the company and the documents, they may ask us to certify through copy with apostille the company documents. And many cases, they will ask you to give them the link. Where can I see your company on the National Register of Companies of Azerbaijan? Can I find your company there? So if you can find that your profile link, it's always very good to put it for them so that they can click and see in the official register of Azerbaijan that indeed this company exists. Indeed, Mohammed or Eldar is the director. And this really answers a lot of doubts for these payment solutions. So here I covered the information and documents that they need about the moral entity, the legal entity, the company. Now, if you don't have a company, if you are actually registered as a sole trader, even as a sole trader, you get a certificate from a certain authority. So that will be your certificate of incorporation. It will be your authorization to trade or whatever it is called in Azerbaijan. Now, we move to the second part, which is they need to identify every human, every individual. So managers, directors, those who can sign an agreement on behalf of the company, you need to provide these documents for them. And every shareholder that has 25% or more of the shares. So for each one of them, you need to provide an identity card. Now, the best, if you want to be validated faster, is to give a passport, because the passport, they have some systems to verify that the passport is real and so on. So they can verify it very fast. If you don't have a passport, then you can give your national ID card, but be careful. You need to scan the front and the back of the card. And in any case, your identity documents should be valid for another 6 months at least. Don't send an expired identity document or a document that will expire in a month. The second document that they ask for each human, each individual, is a proof of address. So a proof of address can be anything like electricity invoice, water bill, gas, internet, telephone, something that comes from an official provider in your country. And then what you have to bear in mind is that it should not be an invoice from last year, because you may have moved your house in between. So they usually want it to be 3 months old or less. And don't give, sometimes you rent an apartment and the electricity bill is under the name of the owner. That will not work. So don't give the electricity bill if it's under the owner of the apartment. Then give the internet bill, because your name and the address both must appear on this document. So these are basic mistakes that we can avoid straight away. The third thing, which is they don't ask for it, but it has a very good bonus, is that you give them a resume or a biography about each human, about each person. You know, like you have a master's degree in this and you have been in this business for 20 years. You have some client references, a certain document that shows that you are real and that you really have skills about this industry. That will prove that your business is real, but also that your team is qualified for running the business. So these are the 3 things that you need to prepare for every human and every individual involved in your company. again, if you have questions about these documents, we can address them in the question and answers because there may be some alternatives for you in Azerbaijan. Let's move now to the third element or the third category of information that they need, which is about the services and products that are sold. Now, this is where easily you can be refused by a provider. And I'm going to explain to you why you can get refused. At the bottom here, I put for you why. Why do a payment services provider need this? This is because by law, they are obliged to fight corruption, fight crime, fight money laundering, terrorism financing, tax evasion, so many things that are illegal that the payment solutions are obliged by authorities to check. So the only way that they can check that this money that is going to move through their system is not about drugs or weapons or some other illegal things is that they know who is selling to whom and what. So you cannot just come and say, I'm selling carpets from Azerbaijan, because they have no way to verify that you're selling carpets or drugs. So they have to see a real catalog with 100 carpets. They need to see that it can be ordered, so the price is online. So for example, if you have a website, an e-commerce website, you have to have all these categories and products displayed with their prices, because if you don't put prices on a B2C website, then it looks strange, right? So the website is the best because the catalog is online and they can see it. The second alternative, if you don't have a website or if it's not ready, then you may present a PDF catalog with photos, descriptions, title, prices, maybe even bulk prices. And then that PDF, you attach it with the other documents and you send it to the payment provider. The third option is you don't have a website, you don't have a PDF catalog. You may try, if you're advertising your products on Facebook or Instagram or any other, you can submit your Instagram or Facebook page, but do that only if you have interactions, people saying, oh yeah, I want to buy, how much is it? They can see the price, they can see the product, they can see people interacting with these products. So these are the three proofs of catalog, from the best, the website, down to the less advised, because it's more like a bonus to have a social page. So this is what you have to bear in mind, and I will give you some more precisions about this, which goes with this point actually. If you have a website, then it has to be compliant as well, the website itself, or whatever channel of sales you're using. It has to be compliant with the security. So if you're familiar with the SSL certificate, I can detail this a bit later, but you know it's that little padlock on the top left of the URL bar that says this website is secure or not. So many times our websites are not secure, and many times it's because I uploaded an image and that image is not secure. Actually, the website is secure, but there is a problem with one particular image. So what I advise is that every one of you, if you have a website, go on whynopadlock.com and just check if your SSL certificate is valid. If you don't have a SSL certificate, please know that it's free to get one now. So you can either get one with let'sencrypt.com, or if you use cloudflare.com, you can get free SSL certificate live. So there is almost no excuse now not to have an SSL certificate. So once you have solved this SSL and security issue, then the next point is that your website should display the terms and conditions of the sales, the prices, the returns, the payments, the refund management. All this, you have to specify them somewhere on your website. So if you don't have your terms and conditions or these kind of documents available, you can always, what I do personally is that I go on rocketlawyer.com, and Rocket Lawyer, they have a US website and a UK website. So if I want to sell to the American market, I will use Rocket Lawyer US, and I pay, I don't remember, $30 for the first month only. And then I generate all my documents, and then I'm allowed to keep them even if I stop paying the membership fee. There is also some other websites that allow you to generate terms and conditions for free. So this is, again, not an excuse. Even if you're lazy to write them up, you don't know how to start, You can either buy them or download them or find templates online. And then there is the third point here about compliance of a website, which is the privacy policy. And this is a must. This is a must because otherwise they don't validate your application. So the first basic is that to have a privacy policy page, at least, that's the first thing. But even that is not enough. Now you have to also comply with GDPR rules for the EU or the European Economic Area. And if you're selling to the United States, for example, in California, California has its own GDPR rule. It's called the CCPA. So if you're selling to these two zones, you need to kind of install a plugin or add some specific paragraphs in your privacy policy to say that, yes, I am in compliance with these two specific regulations. So this will make your website compliant. And what I wanted to say here is that at the bottom, it's important that your website is compliant with your country, with the Azeri rules, but then don't forget that it must be compliant with your buyer countries as well. And this leads us to the question is, should I have one website for all the countries, or should I have a website specifically for America with the American rules and so on, another website with specific pricing, currency, and terms and conditions for the European Union, another one for China, another one for Russia? That bears that question. I don't want to answer now, but just keep it in mind. And the second important point that I want to tell you here at the very bottom is that if your website is not ready, if it's under construction, or if you have not put all the products, you have not put the prices, you have not put the terms and conditions and privacy policy, do not apply for the payment gateway, because you will burn your chances. It is better to wait that you have everything in order, and then only you apply. In my experience, when you start wrong with a payment solution, they put you in a category of high risk or kind of a category of headache client. You don't want to be there. So you want to start only when you're perfectly ready. Okay, we're still on time. So these points for the compliance are really, really important. And what is interesting is that it usually doesn't cost you anything. It's just preparation. It's just business discipline that before they ask you, you already have everything that I have announced here, ready for the payment solution provider. Now, let's say you have obtained finally the payment solution. They validated your account. You receive your password, login, and all these tools. Now you have to integrate them. You have to show them to your clients. And there are different ways to integrate and use payment solutions. I'm going to share with you the main ones. And like I said a little bit earlier, even if you don't have a website, you still may be able to apply for a payment gateway. So if you have a website that is not ready, don't apply. Don't apply as a website. Apply as a distance seller. And instead of giving a website that is not ready, you may give a PDF catalog or a social media page. That's possible. So that's why I prepared for you here a first section, which is how can I integrate or use a payment solution without a website? So if you want to do that, it's perfectly possible. So different payment solutions may have what they call payment links, or you can use an invoice management system. Stripe has an invoice system. WHMCS and other like Zoho Invoice, they have this kind of e-billing systems that can send an invoice with a payment link. Or if you have a shop in Amazon or Etsy or somewhere, it's actually going to use the marketplace payment solution. So this is what you can do if you don't have a website. If you have a website, you can use it also in different ways. If you have a website, but you don't have an e-commerce website, like you don't have PrestaShop, you don't have WooCommerce or a Shopify system, then you can still put on your website a form, and I will give you a demonstration, a form with a payment link. That's one possibility. But the most common one is to use a plugin for whatever you're using for your website, for your e-commerce website, like WooCommerce, Magento, PrestaShop, OSCart, anything that you're using, you may find a plugin for that. If none of these two is available, then usually the payment solutions, they have what we call an API, an application programming interface. And then you may have a programmer or hire a programmer so that he can interconnect your website or your billing system with the API of the payment solution. So let's look quickly at how does this look like. So for example, this is how you can use Adyen for sending a payment link. I don't have a website, but I have a client in, let's say, Germany, and I want him to pay me for a specific invoice or a specific thing that we discussed on Facebook. So I go to Adyen payment link, and then I will configure. So I will tell in the first window here, in the first square, I say, okay, I'm selling him translation services. I put his name, I put my logo, and then I put second step, his country. And then we agreed on 50 euro. So I will select the currency, I will put 50 euro. And then the link, in the case of Adyen, can expire. So I can say this will expire in 24 hours, 48 hours. And then I click, and what it will do is that on the third step here, it will generate a payment link that you can copy and paste. If you go here, you see view full link. And you can either copy and paste and send it on WhatsApp, by email, on Facebook Messenger, whatever you have as a channel. Or usually Adyen will have a button saying, send this payment link by email. And in that case, they will ask for the email of the client. Once the payment link is sent, then you will have access to a dashboard where actually for each payment link that was generated, they will generate a unique reference. In this case, it's MS67 and so on, so that you can actually know if it's paid or unpaid, and you can really follow up your payments in case you missed the email notification. But normally you receive an email saying you got a payment from Mr. so on for this product and services and such. So this is a payment link with Adyen as an example if you don't have a website. Next example is using a billing or invoice system. So I don't have a website, but I want to send a formal invoice. So there is a company called Payfort. You may use it in Arab countries. Mainly this is in the Middle East. And other companies have the same in other countries. So this is very simple. Once you have this payment account, you can create the customer profile. It's almost like a customer relationship management or billing system. You create a profile for each customer with his email and so on, his address. And then for each customer, you can generate an invoice. That's step 2. It will generate an invoice. So you specify for which service, how much. And then basically it will send a PDF document with a payment link to the email of the user. And then that person will click that payment, and then it will automatically link the payment to the invoice. And like Adyen, you will get access to a dashboard to follow the status of every invoice payment. So this is for invoice billing, even if you don't have a website. The third one, the third way of accepting payments, even if you don't have a website, is to use the payment pages or the payment system of a marketplace. This is the Amazon payment solution for an Amazon store on a mobile, actually. This is on the mobile. So you can see that the customer will log in into Amazon. He will order your product. He will click on Amazon Pay. Then he will choose his preferred card because he already registered his card with Amazon. He chooses his destination shipping address. And that's it. With 2 clicks, 3 clicks, he already paid you. And everything is managed by the marketplace. You receive notification, and like the other 2 solutions, you can have a dashboard to follow this order. So again, here we have covered 3 ways of getting paid without a website. Now let's move to the case where you have a website. And there are different ways, and maybe for this part, I can show you live one of the websites that I am managing, and how you can actually use a form or integrate a payment solution in a checkout, in a shopping cart. In this case, I'm using WordPress with WooCommerce. So it's a WooCommerce shopping solution. And I'm going to open the link. Just for verification, Ayhan or Eldar, can you confirm that you see the window, please?
Yes, Mohammed, we see. All is
Excellent.
okay.
So this is a live website for which I applied for Stripe as a payment solution. So we did exactly like I was telling you. We formed a US company because this is actually, we're not from Europe, from the US. And after doing the US company, opening the bank account, we applied for a Stripe account because most of the donors are in the US for this kind of business, for this charity. And I'll show you the first solution, which is, for example, to take a donation. We're using a very simple form. So you put your name, your email, your phone number, the amount, how much you want to donate, and straight away, you can put your card number here and click on donate, and then you will go directly to Stripe, and we're taking a payment. So this is a payment form. It's very simple. There is basically just one step. And for WordPress, there are many plugins that there are many form plugins that have a payment integration. In this particular case, I'm using something called Forminator. Maybe some of you are using Contact Form 7 and so on. There are so many of them that are available. There is the same thing for Drupal. If you have a Drupal website, there are also some forms plugin that have payment solutions. So this is the form payment. And then we also integrated the plugin. Sorry, I'm going to go back here. So this is the shop. This is using WooCommerce. So if, for example, they want to buy this hat, they would come to the page, choose the size, add to basket. And the plugin, you see now it's in the basket. So they can proceed to checkout. And this is not complicated to install because once you install the plugin on your WooCommerce, this all comes up automatically. And once they fill up their information, you can see that this is Stripe. This is Stripe Payment Gateway plugin that is appearing down here. So they will put their card, and then when they place the order, our website will communicate with Stripe securely because you can see here it's secured. And then you will get the payment, and then they will come back here. And as you know, as a buyer, the order is validated. So this is just really to cover this this very quickly, and we're gonna end this session, at least the one-way discussion that I'm doing, with this slide. So the last slide is, I think, for you like a checklist that you need to keep. So there are 5 golden rules that you need to remember, please, before even starting to install a payment. Is 1, don't do anything before studying. Study and then obtain and then propose, integrate the solutions according to your customer's target. So that's the first thing, study, and then prepare. The second point that I want you to really take into consideration is that be careful. Do not misjudge a payment solution that is demanded by someone. Even if the payment solution looks strange, or only 1% or only 0.5% of the people in the world is going to use this payment solution, don't misjudge it because the customer wants it. So if you want that sale, do not underestimate any payment solution that is demanded. Do not ignore any payment solution that is demanded. This is a very easy mistake to do. The third point, the third golden rule is that do not worry. Every payment solution that you may need or that your customer may expect is accessible one way or another. You may access it as an Azeri entrepreneur right now, or you may be able to access it through an aggregator. You know, there are some companies like, for example, WorldCheck or To Checkout. They aggregate other payment solutions. For example, PayPal. PayPal is not available in Azerbaijan, but through tocheckout.com, you can offer PayPal. Or, like we said a little bit earlier, and we will cover on Monday, 22nd June, you can open a branch or a company in the US or in Europe, and then, or in China or in the UAE, and then get whatever payment solutions your customer may want. Fourth golden rule is the key, really the key, the solution to have access to any payment solution is your compliance, your documentation. This is like the no-go if you don't have it. If you don't have it, don't even try, because you're going to burn your reputation. So Number 4 is really the central rule, the central golden rule. Prepare your compliance file in advance. Finally, assuming that you have done all this well, then you have to be smart in how you display and propose your payment solutions. So be careful with the currency that you present. Be careful not to show too many options that do not concern the buyer. Just show what they want when they want it. So you have to organize this with your programmer, or when you create an invoice manually, just be careful with that. So these are the 5 golden rules. And if you have time, I really suggest that you study the different regions and different countries in terms of payment preferences. So I put for you a link to download these studies, but you also, for example, should look for research or a study about payment preferences in Russia, in BRICS countries, payment preferences in Japan, in Australia. So you have to cover really wherever you want to do your marketing. Before doing the marketing, make sure that you know what people are expecting as a payment method. So everybody, Ayhan, Eldar, I'm done with my flowing and one-way communication. I'll be very happy to answer questions, and I'm going to stop my full screen. What's the, are you here, Eldar, Ayhan?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
You can start answer questions, please.
Yeah, shall we? I mean, any participant has a question. The only thing is that I don't see the raise the hand. That's why, if you can help me.
Please check the chat. There I have some questions.
Here. Okay, this is okay, some questions I'm not sure how to answer. Some people has answered. For checking companies, this is for showing that your company is registered in Azerbaijan. Very good, thank you. Cryptos, that is called PI coin. I don't know what it is neither, but usually what I use, and I'm gonna I talked about it in the presentation, but there is one solution that I like to use for cryptocurrencies so that I'm safe, which is coingate.com. So coingate.com, basically, you can accept so many different coins. You see XRP, Ethereum, there is about, I don't know, 70 different crypto coins. So whether this PI coin is there or not, I don't know. But if it's there, personally, I will take it, because I know that CoinGate will take the PI coin and I will get Euro or USD. So it doesn't matter what kind of coin is on the other side. As long as it's accepted by CoinGate, I will take it personally. So I hope this answers that question. And I lost the chat here, chat. Thank you, Arif, for answering. CMS, Content Management System. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You said one of our banks made contract with China Union Pay. I just want to know which bank is that.
Yes, I was reading about it just recently. Google is our best friend. I forgot the name, but it was that's their bank.
Is it Unibank or
Union? We can check right now. Here, the largest acquirer in Azerbaijan will accept Union Pay. So who is the largest? Ata Bank.
Ata Bank. Oh, okay.
Yes, Ata Bank. So, but this is a two-step process usually, because I think they will start accepting Union Pay in their point of sale machines, you know, the physical point of sale machines.
Yes.
And then maybe at the beginning, it will not be available for online payments, but keep a look at it, especially if you target Chinese customers. Your name is Aisha, right?
Yes, Aisha.
So thank you very much. It's a very good question, Aisha. I want to bring forward one interesting point for you guys, is that sometimes we think that only Chinese in China use Chinese payment solutions, right? But there is 500 million Chinese in the US and Canada that are physically in America, but are using Chinese payment solutions to buy from the US. You see what I mean? Oh, Atabank is closed after 3 years. That's not cool.
Atabank was closed, yes.
Wow.
Actually, they became bankrupt, so...
Is it the China agreement bankrupt them?
No, not because of that.
Okay. Well, hopefully somebody took over, and we need to find out. Just Aisha and the other participants, the point that I made about Chinese payment solution being used in America and Canada, is it clear?
Yes, it's
okay,
clear.
cool. And one way to actually solve this is that, I mean, for all of you guys, there are some payment solutions that are must-have. For example, Alipay is becoming more and more must-have, because they cover not only China Union Pay cards and so on, but also Tencent and some other chat payment solutions.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. Any fee, so one question from Arif. Any fee service is requested for establishing, opening a new company outside of Azerbaijan? Yes, good question. So in my presentation, and I will go back to it. So Arif and all of you, we will cover this on the 22nd of June, Monday 22nd. But let's go back to my slide for now. This slide here. So I gave you an estimate here that to open a Delaware company in the US, it starts at $500. And this is with the program stripe.com. It's called Stripe Atlas. So we will share with you the PDF of this presentation with all the links. So Arif, if you do a bit of research about Stripe Atlas, you will see that they have this offer. They request a $500 payment. And the only thing is that they don't accept you 100%. So sometimes they refuse your business. It happened to me. For some clients, I applied, we paid. So we book the $500, but then they say no, because they work with a bank behind, which is called Silicon Valley Bank, SVB. And sometimes that bank doesn't accept the business. So if the bank doesn't accept the business, then they refuse it. So the workaround is that if you can do a Delaware company with someone else, and then you open a Pioneer business account, and the Pioneer business account will give you a USD bank account, and that USD bank account, you give it to Stripe, and then they will validate your Stripe account. So this is the alternative. We will see more details on the 22nd. Thank you for the question. Yes, so I will add a second information about this, about the costs. So what you have to know is that this is the setup fee. It may cost $500, but then I will detail it in the next training. But you will have also to do accounting, reporting, and then you have to manage that company. A US company is not expensive to manage, but still, there are some things that we will share with you on the methodology and what you need to do to maintain a US or European company. So we will give much more details on that specific training. I go back to the chat. Does PayPal work in Azerbaijan, and isn't it possible to receive the payment via the PayPal through WooCommerce in Azerbaijan? So this is a good question, and I'm going to answer it with an official answer. So if we go to PayPal accepted countries, I just Google it, I get the list of all the countries where in theory PayPal is available. So if I look for Azerbaijan, you see here Azerbaijan Republic, and I click on it. Sorry, let me do it in a different way. So I open Azerbaijan in one window, and I open Singapore. Singapore on another window. How to move? Okay, so this is PayPal Azerbaijan, right? So how to know if PayPal is available in Azerbaijan for sellers, not for buyers, is here. You can see that here it's only personal account. You can open a personal account, PayPal account, sorry. You can open a personal PayPal account in Azerbaijan, but this is for you as a buyer. That means that they accept to take money from your Azerbaijan card. So it doesn't mean that you as a seller can accept PayPal. On the other hand, if you look at PayPal in Singapore, see here, PayPal Singapore, they have business accounts. And here you can send invoices, you can sell on marketplaces, you can accept online payments. So unless PayPal business or PayPal seller shows up in your PayPal in your country, then if it doesn't show up, that means you cannot accept PayPal as a payment solution in your country. So for Azerbaijan, unfortunately, it's not yet available. Maybe in a few months, maybe in a few years. So it's not available directly. Now, in the training, I said that you could get it indirectly, right? So I think it was to check out. See here, to checkout now accepts PayPal. So through to checkout, you may be able to get PayPal, and then you install to checkout in your WooCommerce, and the to checkout WooCommerce plugin will be able to display PayPal as a payment solution. This is another way. The third way, and we will see it with company information, is that if you're successful in forming a US company with a US bank account and you have specific documents, you may be able to open a PayPal US seller account. That's also one more possibility. So I hope I answered the question. Now next, if we have a company in Azerbaijan and we want to establish a branch of the company, in this case, it will be additional operation and we will pay service fees. Yes, yes, it is. It is additional fees, but compared to 10 years ago, it is virtually free now. Because if you, or even 15 years ago, if you had to open a company in America or in Europe, take office, hire a director, hire a manager, you need like $100,000 before you start an operation in America with an American bank account or a European company with a European bank account. But now, many countries in the West, they have removed the requirement to have a local director or a local shareholder. That means that as an Azeri entrepreneur, you can open a UK company and you can be 100% foreign shareholder. You can be 100% Azeri shareholder. You don't need a British partner. You don't need a British director. You don't need a British shareholder. Likewise, in the US authorize foreigners to fully own and fully operate a company. So because thanks to this openness, it reduces the fees and the costs of opening and maintaining a company in America or in the UK. But nonetheless, yes, there are some fees, and we will detail them. But we can say that it will cost you between $500 and $1,000 per year to maintain the company. Now, is it worth it? It depends. If this $1,000 fee per year opens 300 million consumer market, yeah, $1,000 is nothing if you make a lot of sales out of it. So it all depends how many customers you have in America or in Europe, and does it justify the opening of the branch or the company. Thank you, Timur. Welcome, Arif. And please don't be shy, or any question is very welcome. Or if you have experienced something and you want to share it, you had a problem, or you try to apply for certain payment solution, they refused you or they blacklisted you or whatever, please share, and I can try to give some explanations or some method. Or Ayhan or Eldar, if you also have questions, or if you have some guiding questions that someone could be interested to hear about it, please don't hesitate.
Thank you, Mohammed. If we will be questions, we will ask you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if there are no questions, then I think we can finalize.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just let's give some time to our participants to chew all this information, and maybe by the next training they will have some more questions even about this topic. So if there are no questions, we can finish.
Maybe I want to ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Eldar, because I'm afraid I scared people by asking them to write in English. So if someone wants to write a question in Azeri, please don't hesitate, and then Eldar and Ayhan will help.
Sual vermək istəyən varsa yenə də deyirəm, Azərbaycan dilində verə bilərsiniz. Yəni mikrofonunuzu yandırıb Azərbaycan dilində verə bilərsiniz. Mən Muhammedə tərcümə edərəm. Yəni əgər kimsə Azərbaycan dilində sual vermək istəyirsə. Okey, onda suallar yoxdursa yenə də gələn dəfə indi bəlkə kimləsə indi bəlkə bu mövzu barədə biraz da fikirləşib düşünüb, yəni bu məlumatı belə deyək, emal eləyəndən sonra nəsə suallarınız oldu. Gələn təlimimizdə yenə də bu mövzu barədə suallarınızı verə bilərsiniz. Suallar yoxdursa onda məncə bitirə bilərik də, Ayhan bəy.
Bəli, prinsipə bitirə bilərik. Təşəkkür edirəm Eldar bəy sizə. Thank you for your time, Muhammed. We will see you in next training.
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you everybody for being here.
Təşəkkür edirəm.
Çox sağ olun. Gələn təlimimiz Ayhan bəy olacaq bu həftənin 5-ci günü.
Bəli.
Ayın 19-u səhv eləmirəmsə.
19-u, bəli. Ayın 19-u elə eyni saatda.
Əla oldu. Onda hələ bu dəfə olduğu kimi yenə gələn dəfəyə biz bəlkə indi biraz tez göndərərik, dəvətnamələri göndərərik və görüşərik. Oldu onda. Çox sağ olun. Thank you everyone. Muhammed, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, Muhammed. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Salam for now.
Bye.